The Shooter Shack. Welcome to the Shooter Shack. I shoot at like 80%. Where the hell they do that at? Where the hell they do that at? Welcome to the Shooter Shack. The Shooter Shack. I help you make your money back. Like where they do that at? I shoot 80%. Every Sunday with the kid. I'll make your money back. I shoot 80%. Every Sunday with the kid. Like where the
All right, welcome back. Pat Gregoire here with none other than Brett McConaughey, a.k.a. The Shooter. And Brett, I haven't been here in a while, but I do notice you've done a little decorating since I've been down here in the shack, huh?
Well, Patty, you're right, buddy. And first of all, we got to thank BioSteel. They've jumped on board with the shack. We are officially powered by BioSteel. And as you can see on the table and what I'm wearing on my hat, that's 3N. That is Jordan Nolan, his father Ted, and Brandon Nolan's brand new clothing line. And we're happy to be wearing it and happy to have Jordan as a special guest today on the show. But Patty, without further ado, let's get this thing rolling.
All right, there's no debating. Right now is one of the best times of the year to be a sports fan. You've got the Masters this weekend, the NBA and the NHL playoffs just around the corner. And of course, we saw the MLB kick off its season this week as well. But with all that being said, we're going to start things off with the NFL because we had some pretty big news on the gridiron. Former quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo, announcing that he's trading in his football pads and his pigskins for a microphone and suit, and he's jumping in the booth as the new analyst for CBS Shooter. I got to ask you, what's your first thoughts there?
Well, Patty, there's no question about it. This is the biggest news in the NFL this week. It's a sudden retirement call by Tony Romo, and he is leaving the NFL and joining CBS as the #1 analyst. And generally, in most professions, employees got to work their way up the ladder. But in Tony Romo's case, he is snagging himself the top position and replacing Phil Simms as the NFL's #1 broadcaster. And he's got 0 broadcasting experience, but I'm sure that Uncle Phil's choking on the salty truth about losing his gig. But let's be honest, there's some NFL general managers who have to be just as displeased with this recent report. The Jets, the Texans, and the Denver Broncos are just a few that come to the tip of the tongue. But on the business side of things, the Cowboys did Tony Romo a huge favor by cutting him this week instead of placing him on the NFL reserve/retired list. If Tony Romo had just retired, he would have had to pay back $5 million of his signing bonus. So this decision by Grandpa Jerry Jones, and I can't call him Uncle Jerry because this guy is old as sin, is going to leave a few scoots in Tony Romo's bank account and is going to allow him to sign with any other team at any time. So this move not only saves Tony Romo some cash, but it allows the injury-prone 36-year-old quarterback to try his hand in a new field with no contact, no injuries, and Tony Romo is a bit of a Band-Aid, and I'm pretty sure he won't be missing any action this year on the IR.
Well, good news for old Uncle Tony. You can't blow any fourth quarter leads from the press box, so he's probably pretty excited about that, and I know the Cowboys are pumped too. But with that being said, we got to switch gears to the Toronto Raptors, where we've seen the Dinos getting a little Donnybrooks over the last couple of weeks. This week it was Lance Stephenson being the thorn in the side of the Raptors, and well, PJ Tucker, one of the new fan favorites, he wasn't having any of that.
Well, he wasn't, Patty. There's no question about it. And on a Tuesday night, frustrations were already starting to boil over with the Raptors blowing a 19-point lead to the Pacers down at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. But throwing a spark plug like Lance Stephenson into the mix could only make things worse. Stevenson's emotional antics helped spark a 30-point turnaround for the Pacers, but he also got under the skin of the defeated Raptors. And it seemed like everything was all good until Lance Stephenson decides to score a meaningless bucket on a layup with a couple of seconds left, and the Raptors decided to take matters into their own hands, swarming Stephenson and saying a few words you might only catch down here on a bloopers episode of the Shooter Shack. But hold the phone here, Patty. Let's rewind the tape to last season when the Raptors were playing the 76ers, up by 30 points. Norman Powell gets himself a steal, marches it down the court, and unleashes a heavy windmill dunk as the time ran out. To me, it seems a little bit hypocritical. I know Powell was a rookie at the time and may not have known any better, but remember, when you point one finger, there's always three little sausages coming right back at you. And this is a simple, old-fashioned case of what goes around comes around. And as we saw Tuesday night, the Dinos didn't like it when the shoe was on the other foot. But hey, Lance, I'm talking to you. You're better off blowing on other guys' ears, because scoring buckets that are meaningless late in the game is selfish, gutless, and as a veteran of the league, you should know better.
He definitely should know better, and I think it is a little bit hypocritical of the Raptors, but back when that happened last year, they didn't have PJ Tucker, they didn't have Serge Ibaka. You gotta like the fire that this Raptors team has now. They're sticking up for each other, they're playing great defense, they're playing with grit, and that is all good heading into the postseason.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, Patty, but this week's Donkey of the Week, we are taking this one down south to California to the ANA Inspiration LPGA major event, to where some couch potato decides to get his fat fingers on the horn and call a misplaced marking by young Lexi Thompson, costing her 4 strokes and eventually costing her the major. The officials on site didn't notice, the golfers playing with her didn't notice, but this couch potato sitting on his rear end with a hot dog hanging off his chin in his mom's basement decided she was breaking the rules. So he ships an email into the LPGA, and not only did you lose the extra mayo that was all over your shirt, you cost Lexi Thompson $155,000 US. I got no idea what your name is, but your new handle, first name Jack, last name Ass. And not only are you a loser, but you are the Shooter Shack's Donkey of the Week. Well, it's another wonderful day down here at the Shooter Shack, and once again we are joined by a special guest. Today we got 2-time Stanley Cup champion Jordan Nolan stopping by the Shooter Shack to join us. Jordy, how you doing today, bud?
Yeah, doing great. Just a day off here in LA. Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, it must be nice down there, Knowles, and the beautiful weather in LA. It's April up here in Toronto, and you never know what you're going to get. The weather's a bit of a mixed bag. But you coming from a great hockey family, your brother playing in the NHL, and your dad coaching in the league, what have these two guys done to help you with your playing career?
Yeah, I think their main message, obviously, growing up was hard work. And once I got to a certain level, they started teaching me about what it takes to be a pro athlete, and it was my nutrition or my workout routine. And once getting to the NHL, it's about staying here. So hard work kind of trumps all. Some guys have certain skill sets, some guys don't have as much skill, so you got to try and outwork them in certain spots. And some of those top skill guys, they can kind of coast by in their skill and talent alone. And us normal guys have to try and work a little bit harder and try and stay in the NHL.
Well, speaking of hard work, you had to work your way up to the NHL. Only 2 years in the AHL with Manchester. What was it like winning 2 Stanley Cups within your first couple of years in the league?
Yeah, it was obviously pretty exciting. I got called up in February, and we weren't sure if we were going to make the playoffs or not. And we just squeezed in at the very end, so that was definitely a thrill for me. And, once the playoffs started, it seems like our team's kind of caught fire. We kept winning playoff rounds after playoff rounds. And next thing you know, we're kind of going to the Stanley Cup Finals against New Jersey. And I remember my parents coming down with my brother, and they were just so thrilled and kind of let me know how lucky I was to be in the situation. So once I got that first Stanley Cup, I almost thought it was an easy thing to do in this league. But once you play and once you compete against some of these teams, you realize that it's not. And again, we're fortunate enough to win in 2014, so I got 2 Stanley Cup parties in my first 3 years in the league. But we just traded for a guy named Romo, and he's been playing since he was since 19, so about 20 years in the NHL now, and he has yet to win a Stanley Cup. So I think when you talk to guys like that, and after being around for a few years, we're not in the playoffs this year. We weren't 2 years ago. The year before that, we lost first round. So I think once you're in the league a bit longer and kind of realize the grind and the competitive teams that come in and out each year, it's definitely a big accomplishment. And if you win one, you're pretty lucky. But if you win two, that's definitely incredible. So it's pretty exciting, and very fortunate to have two.
Must have been a good time, no doubt. Now, Jordan, you pride yourself off being a tremendous two-way player, and when it comes to the rough stuff, you definitely don't back away. So I've got to ask, of all the players that you drop the mitts with, who would you say is the toughest?
Yeah, there's a few tough guys on that list, but I played in the American League for 2 years, so kind of you run into a bunch of tough guys down there and guys that live for it, and that's their bread and butter is those fights and playing a hard game. But when I first came to NHL, I mixed up with Sheldon Survey for a little bit. He was a big, strong boy, and a few years after that, I got into it with Lucic. So that was definitely one of the biggest battles I've had in the NHL, and I was fortunate enough to play with him last year. Just a great guy. We had a good laugh about it, and he thinks he got the win, which he might have, but hopefully I don't have to fight him again in the near future.
Well, no question about it. Lucic is a tough customer, and I got to tip the cap to you for even stepping into the ring to battle with him. But I got to ask you, Coach Sutter, what is it like playing for him? And is he the same way that he is in the media with reporters as he is behind closed doors?
Yeah, what you see is what you get with Daryl. He definitely doesn't change for the media and stuff like that. He's pretty tough, fair, honest coach to play for. What you see is what you get. And if you take a shift off or a game off, you're definitely going to hear about it. And if you take 2 games off, then you probably won't play for the next 5. But he's done a great job here. We won 2 cups together. And I'm sure if you ask anyone on our team, he's definitely one of the toughest coaches they had to play for. But he's very fair and pretty honest.
Well, Nolan, there's no question about it, and you can definitely see the hard work paying off in those 2 Stanley Cup rings. But moving the tape forward, I got to ask you a little bit about the new clothing line, 3N, your brother, your father, and yourself. As you can see, guys at home, I'm rocking one of the new snapbacks. There's another one right here at the table at the shack. But let our viewers know a little bit about it and how we can find some of your gear.
I think, we wanted to do something together, our family, me, my brother, and my dad. And we came with our hockey school in 2013, just kind of a way for us to kind of give back and get in our communities and kind of help out with hockey and things outside of hockey too. We're not trying to just build the next NHL star. We're trying to build good people and people with good characters and good values. And I think it was one of my brother's dreams to kind of have his own clothing line. And I think with our hockey school right now, it's perfect timing. We get to bring in some of our hats, some of our merchandise to these small communities, and they love them. We see kids wearing our hats everywhere we go now. So whether it's Edmonton or Calgary or back home in St. Catharines, but it's been going well so far. We have a pretty cool design, and I know lots of my friends love them, and I know lots of my brother's friends love them. So hopefully we can keep getting bigger and keep expanding our popularity and. Yeah, we're just happy people enjoy them, and we appreciate your support, and it looks good on you.
All right, Jordan, no question about it. We're going to let our viewers know where they can get it. The website will be right on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, and we'll keep an eye out on all the new designs. But all of our guests that stop by the shack, we have them run through the last minute of play. We're going to put 60 seconds up on the clock, and I'm going to fire some questions at you rapid style. Answer them as quick as possible. If you don't want to answer, all you got to do is say pass. You good with that, buddy?
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. We got last minute of play here with Jordan Nolan, and we'll get this thing started now. Gretzky or Lemieux?
I think Gretzky, he's a former LA King, so I'd have to go with Big Wayne Gretzky.
Domi or Probert?
Definitely Probert. I was a Detroit fan growing up, and he's one of the greats.
Sports car or SUV?
Definitely SUV. I can't stand sports cars, so SUV all the way.
Pre-game meal?
My pregame meal is spaghetti and chicken, and if I'm in a slump, I might throw some meatballs in there.
Bud Light or Coors Light?
I used to be Coors Light, but I've been sober for about 3 years now, so I'd have to go with water.
Congratulations, good for you. Loudest building in the OHL?
Probably Windsor, and I played there for 2 years, so whenever we went back there, it was kind of a love-hate relationship, and they'd probably give it to me pretty hard back in the day.
Loudest building in the NHL?
I think Chicago Blackhawks. Big rival between us two, so whenever we go there, it's exciting and intense building, and they got the great national anthem.
Biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve would have to be guys that chew with their mouth open. We got a few of them on our team, so sometimes dinner is a tough time.
Favorite sport other than hockey?
Favorite sports probably lacrosse. I grew up in around St. Catharines, so lots of my friends play, and we toss the ball around a bit in the summer, and it's a great sport to watch.
Being a lacrosse guy, I love that answer. But next up, locker room DJ on the LA Kings.
The locker room DJ is Jeff Carter right now, and back in the day it was Dustin Penner, who is now a real DJ, I believe.
Favorite player all time?
Favorite player of all time would have to be Steve Yzerman. A big Detroit fan growing up, and he was fortunate enough to bring the Stanley Cup back to Detroit a couple times.
Hip hop or country music?
Country music for sure, but I'm kind of good for whatever.
Funnest guy to go out with?
Best guy to go with? Probably Drew Doughty. He likes to have a good time. Could be a little annoying at times, but he's a great guy. And also, one of your local guys, Andy Androff's also a good time. And he's just a great guy.
Well, there you have it. That is the end of Last Minute of Play with Jordan Nolan. Nolsey, thanks a lot for stopping by the shack today, buddy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. It's another electric episode down here at the Shooter Shack. Patty, can't thank you enough for stopping by. I want to remind all the viewers at home, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link is right at the bottom of the page. Go ahead and follow us on all the social media platforms. Jordan Nolan from the LA Kings, two-time Stanley Cup winner. We can't thank you enough for stopping by. But before we go, here's a word from our sponsors.
Now, Shooter, as you know, hockey players losing jibs all the time. One of my buddies actually just lost one of his chiclets, so I've got to ask you, is there someone you know that can help him out?
Well, as a matter of fact, Patty, there is. Dr. J. Petroff at Maple Ridge Dental. He is the top dentist in Ontario. You call the number on the bottom of the screen and book an appointment today. And if you want to have a smile like the Shooter, make sure you go see Dr. J.
Now, Shooter, I've been thinking about selling my house. Do you know anyone who can help me out?
Well, as a matter of fact, Patty, I sure do. When looking to buy or sell, call Liz and Mel. Liz McKinnon and Melanie Schott with Remax Rouge River are here for all your buying and selling needs. Mention the name Shooter for free staging when selling your home. Hey, that's a $2,500 discount right here from Uncle Shooter. But give them a call today at 289-314-9110 and visit their website at lizandmel.com. And Patty, while we're here down in the shack, I want to thank a few of our other sponsors. The first one, Wilkins the Barber, the #1 barber in the GTA. And when it comes to the one you want with the clippers, the one you want with the baby powder on the brush, he's the one you gotta have. He keeps this beard looking fresh and looking sharp, and don't think for a second he can't do the same for you. The Royal Oak Whippy North at Garden and Taunton. This is one of my favorite sponsors down here at the shack. Pop in and say hello today and let them know the Shooter sent you for a 10% discount off your bill. MyCustomSportsChair.com, a wonderful product. Custom sports chairs, they're great gifts for anybody of all ages. Go ahead to mycustomsportschairs.ca and put an order in and use the promo code SHOOTER for free shipping anywhere in North America. How about our friends over at JC Storage Solutions? They've always solved all your storage needs. They supply, deliver, install, and engineer all industrial pallet racking and steel shelving systems. Give them a shout today at 416-565-1196. Have you been charged with a criminal offense or a DUI? Perhaps you got a past that you would like a pardon for. Well, HW Legal Support Services can help. Give them a shout today for a free consultation at 647-460-3722.